ask JD to throw it away. Or not.
It's probably like she was just throwing it back against the wall. I was like, the hell?
I tripped against the wall, and I didn't want anyone to notice. I just slowly slid along the wall, because that's more normal than me tripping.
Yeah.
He does that. When he goes like this.
That's normal. Everyone with autism or Down syndrome, we got it.
Quick shout out to Exavolt on Twitch. Fucking Ricky the Mouse. That's my older brother. I'm watching him on Twitch right now, that's why I said it.
So someone started with the howdy.
Howdy, hi.
Hello.
Come on, God
You
was
have
here.
to say it.
Fuck this podcast.
Hell yeah. What were you saying? What were you saying?
You were about to say something.
Yeah.
All right.
Before I said.
You started with so
And
guys.
you went to say something.
So
and
no,
then
you
like,
said so Noah, and then I said wait, do the.
Okay. Don't put him on the spot.
Fuck it.
He's already confused.
What?
Fuck you. Are you?
I'm going first.
I'm going rogue. Go ahead.
I don't know. What do you guys want to talk about?
Fuck you.
I'm just saying.
No,
we
for
each
real.
have a
For real.
topic.
Okay.
I'm
okay.
just
Someone
saying.
pick a.
Okay,
Someone
I'll say
go
it.
first.
I took
I'll
my
pick
shoes off now.
Shut the fuck. Ew.
Can I see him?
Her shoes or her feet? She's got
Dude.
weird
No,
toes.
you missed a whole
Hell
thing
yeah,
out
brother.
there. Noah would not stop telling me to take my shoes off. Like every 2 minutes.
All right.
Ask Brooks.
Listen. There's context.
I don't give a shit if she takes her shirt off. It doesn't fucking matter to me.
Well, it does matter to you.
it does matter to me. No, it doesn't. I'll take
They're my
whatever.
titties.
my shirt off.
They're my titties. If I want to show
I said
people.
feet.
I'm just saying, they're my
No.
titties. If I want to show them
Okay,
people,
I'm
I
just
can show
saying,
them
as a
people.
person with a foot fetish, fucking summer is phenomenal. I'm just saying, it's like everybody's walking around naked.
I'm
It's
so
fantastic.
excited to go to the beach this year. I'm so excited.
To see feet?
I have a hidden agenda. Yeah, I'm with Tyler.
Dude, you gotta get on the foot train.
Yeah.
It's
He's already on it. He
No,
wouldn't
I'm
stop
not.
trying to look
I
at
made
mine.
Context. So this is what I did.
there's nothing wrong
She
with
was
good
standing
toes.
next to everyone, seeing like,
I
yeah,
was doing that
I'm
thing.
fucking
I was
taller
doing that
than you.
thing that I always do, where I'm like,
JD, how do you feel about toes?
Toes?
Yeah.
Do you like sexual? No.
You like in a sexual way.
Like a kink.
Like a kink. Oh, what the fuck, bro?
get the
Loser.
fuck out of here.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. You ain't in it if you ain't.
About it.
I was trying to think of
If you ain't in it,
tone that it didn't
You
work.
ain't about it.
you sure.
Yeah.
the fuck are you getting in? There's no
In
hole.
feet, in
they
between
put
the
them together.
in between the
In
toes.
between the toes.
Is that actually?
Have you never seen
Tyler's
a foot
into
job?
feet.
No, have you never seen foot porn?
A foot job?
right.
No, they cup their little feet
Here's
and
the
they go like this.
context.
Tyler, are you pulling it up?
Yo, absolutely.
Okay, I don't have to.
Cody's
All
like,
right.
oh, okay, my bad.
Dude, I am completely
Reddit
sub
for
to
a reason.
feetfinder.com. Shout out to Feetfinder. It's fucking phenomenal.
Well,
What the fuck?
anyway, there was context where Holly was standing next to everyone, saying that she's taller than everyone, but she had.
I was gonna say, I was just low key being like,
Yeah. And then Holly pulled her feet out, and then Noah was
And
like,
then I
trying to suck
jokingly
on
kept
them, so-
saying, "Take those shoes off. Take them off."
He
and
was
now
mad that-
everyone
that-
thinks I'm into feet.
he was mad
Who
that
knows?
I'm taller.
I might be.
I didn't say that. I didn't say Noah
Only
himself
looking
is
at
into
JD.
feet.
JD,
Only JD's
pull him
feet.
out.
Okay, just.
Are you
I'm gonna
showing
get-
him
Yeah,
feet
see,
porn?
I'm gonna get Brooks in here. No one won't stop trying to take off our shoes.
I don't.
I know the science behind it.
I'm gonna
The
go out there,
science
no
behind it?
shoes
There's-
on.
there's
And
science?
Brooks took my shoes.
So whose topic is going first?
Me. I said I was
This
going
was a
first.
topic.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, this was a topic. It was
Was
foot
this
porn.
actually your topic?
Okay. This is it's more of a question.
Hang on, I'm
obviously.
raw dogging this ice real fast.
I said I was gonna do this to Holly as a joke, and then run whenever I got caught because I was gonna get caught
Oh,
on
this is
purpose.
exactly what me and Noah were talking about.
What?
It's the.
The guy
It's
guy
like-
that's sitting there and she has her legs across like the two guys' laps and the guy's like sitting there
this.
and you just see his flash go off and they're like,
Yeah.
they're like, yo, dude. I was just gonna be like, and when you guys looked, I was gonna be like, and just run.
No, me and Noah were talking about that out there when we were making the foot fetish jokes, and I was like, that's my favorite thing to do ever, is to do the fake picture where you just turn your flashlight on and off real quick. The
You know
fuck
what
was that?
You know what
face?
makes me feel uncomfortable? Because it always tends to be whenever a girl
Hispanic
bends
people?
over in front of me. A girl at work that like I was talking to, she went and turned around and I was talking to Mike and I screenshot something and it went like it was taking a picture. And like she spun around so quickly and I was like, yeah, blah 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 blah, and I looked up and I was like, No. I was like, no.
That is not what
Stop.
happened.
Stop. I was like...
I'm just saying, I don't believe you. I'm just saying, I don't believe... I'm just saying, I don't believe you. You have the picture of my ass on your phone from when I pissed myself at the last podcast.
You pissed yourself? Oh, yeah.
When the tea exploded on me,
Yeah.
and it's just my entire... It's like the inner thigh going down. It looks like I straight up pissed myself.
Yeah.
What's she doing over there?
Oh, did he get a spicy one? What'd he pull? JD right now is opening up some magic packs.
$14 card.
Hell yeah. Oh, is that a dual
Oh, it's
land?
an overgrown tomb.
Oh, okay.
It's
Hell yeah.
Borderless, too.
Shockland.
Yeah, dual land.
All right.
Noah,
All right.
We're getting into it. This is the
Actually-
for real podcast.
Talk about
Howdy,
Okay,
hi,
ask
and
your
hello.
question.
We're going.
Howdy, and hello.
Hell yeah, brother.
Howdy,
Howdy.
All right, Tyler.
Okay.
Howdy,
okay.
hi, and hello.
So, as everybody here knows, we all play RPGs, right? We all play tabletop RPGs. So, and we've lately been playing a lot of, like, I don't know, what do you call it? Like, one-shots that are all based in different, we're all using different
Timelines
systems.
or something?
Well, like different systems, right? So we played, like, obviously Dungeons and Dragons. We played, like, with the
Cthulhu
Cthulhu
Dark.
Dark.
Simply Six. Yeah.
Simply Six. Noah and I have played Those Dark Places, that sort of stuff. So I guess what my question is here today is, do you guys think that, like, I guess what I'm asking is, do you think that running a system that, like, runs any genre is a good idea, or do you like having an RPG book that's specific to a time, place, and period?
So the example is pretty much D&D, where it's kind of focusing just on medieval-esque, kind of. What the fuck is happening?
Cody's molesting me.
He's
Talking
looking
this way?
towards you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's talking
yeah.
away
Yeah.
from the mic, so I was just fixing it real quick.
Yeah,
Sorry, I was
I-
trying to do it without you guys stopping, but
No, too late.
No.
No, you have disrupted. I can't speak.
All right.
The joke is ruined.
Say the question again.
fuck the system.
Oh, fuck.
No.
Okay.
So either
Please don't say it again.
basing it off of like a single system, or where you can pretty much go anywhere.
Right. So basically, I'm kind of comparing it to, like, Dungeons and Dragons, which is obviously very just medieval time period themed, that sort of thing, or something that's more along the lines of, like, Simply Six, where it can kind of hold any sort of thing, and you can play anything that you want, or any genre, or any time period, that sort of thing. Do you guys like something like that, or do you like having, like, each book being its own genre and specific to the time period, that sort of stuff? Like, how do you feel about those? Because, like personally, I have, like, you guys know I have, like, literally 50-some copies of 50 different RPGs, because I've always just been trying to find, like, the perfect one, but I never have. So, like, what are your thought processes?
Me to go, or do you want to go?
I don't care.
So whenever I started D&D, I did not want to stray from it. I didn't like anything other than just medieval time, not going anywhere. Like, my brother brought up ideas about going to modern times with D&D, and it did not entice me at all.
Like
Okay.
a Dimension 20 type thing?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
But now, since we're trying different systems, I kind of agree with you that you want to find the single one that can be anything that you want.
Right? Like, I kind of wish I could find a system that really, really works. Like Cthulhu Dark is like that, where, like, you know, we can be like cowboys in the Wild West, or we can be like detectives in 2040. It
That's
doesn't
what I was
matter.
gonna say. I think, honestly, I think Simply Six is the
I'm sorry.
closest to perfect that
Right?
I thought of.
Okay,
Because
literally, Simply Six is one of my favorites.
I just don't know. I would like to try to play one sometime where we have magic.
Yeah, and
'Cause
Simply
you
Six
talked about
has
that.
Yeah,
has a
Simply Six
magic
does.
aspect.
You talked about it, but I've just never played it or seen it played, so I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like janky or.
Right.
But like, I think, like we were talking about, Simply Six, I think is just. I might get hate for this, but like, I like Simply Six better than D&D.
Wow, I
Like
hate you.
100%.
Wow. This is a fucking D&D podcast. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
It's not
Listen,
This isn't a D&D podcast
no,
anymore.
this is
It's
just,
fuck off.
this is like just a gaming podcast.
Yeah.
in
I
general.
would also like to
Yeah.
say, me and Tyler had this discussion literally yesterday about how we honestly aren't the biggest fans of D&D.
Yeah.
Just because of now playing all these different RPGs, there are so many that like run smoother. It's easy for people to just jump in. Like, it's super easy to understand, and it's just
I love D&D, but it's so complicated.
Right.
I can't keep my stuff
and
straight.
then it's not just that, but I feel like in the middle of like all different things like combat and shit like that and all this, like, it takes so long because there's so much you have to take into account, whereas with these other ones like Cthulhu Dark, it's what's within human capability, and you can do
and
that.
DM discretion.
Right,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you can
Hey,
do
can I do
that,
this?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, that's
Like-
fine.
Like, we were talking about this. So Krista and I had almost the same conversation you guys did. We were talking about how it's really cool with Simply 6 because Simply 6 allows you to play your character and not play the game.
Yes,
Because-
I was just gonna bring that up.
Because,
Yes.
like, I sit there and I'm like, even like, people like us that have played for a while. Like,
Oh, yeah, you get
I
caught
can,
up
like,
in it.
plan ahead and stuff, but if, like, something comes up, which I did want to mention, I'll mention that afterwards, but I think you and I talked about it before. So, we, like, we've had this discussion where it's, like, you get to actually, like, be your character and play the character. We were doing goofy accents, like,
Right,
weird shit,
yeah.
all kinds of stuff, but, like, it didn't interrupt gameplay where it was like, oh, I was focusing so much on, like,
Yeah.
my character that I didn't plan out my turn, rather than, like, hey, I got to focus less on my turn and play more into my character.
Yeah, it really allows like a role-playing aspect, which to me like is so dumbfounding because like Dungeons and Dragons, right, is supposed to be like this godfather of roleplay, and it's like it like D&D plays more out as like a tactical based, like almost like a tabletop like wargaming system, and less like an actual role-playing
Yeah,
system.
I feel like with D&D you have to have a lot of like strategies, especially with like what
Yeah.
character you're playing. There's different strategies, different things that you go about. Whereas with all of the other one-offs we've done, one, I have to say, I feel like I have so much more of an emotional connection to the one-off characters than I ever had a single D&D character
Yeah.
ever. A D&D character dies and you're like, whatever, I'll roll up a new one. But like when Noah got fucking killed, I was like tearing
dude.
up, man. I was like, no, he was my best friend. We were supposed to own this bar together. Like, that hit me harder than any other D&D character ever.
No, I know. I totally get that because when we did the one where Noah ran the what was
The Hatchetfield one.
was that the where we were all teenagers kind of
Yeah, where you were Ren.
right? And like I had this like breakdown emotional like thing about like having this like absent mother that like it like affected me even afterwards, and I go, wait a minute, that wasn't me. Like,
Like, oh, well, it's like, you gotta be like, hey, this wasn't real.
yeah, and I had to like really kind of like shake it
What do
off
they-
after we left, and
Well,
I
that's like-
was
that's
I
like one
was-
of the
Call that
things.
Joker syndrome? Don't they call it Joker syndrome or something? Because you know how like it's like a thing where like the role of Joker's cursed because
Oh,
everybody
yes.
everybody gets
Yes.
so far into the character, that's why like what's his name
method
killed
acting.
himself and like
Yeah,
all-
yeah, it's because
well, he
afterwards
overdosed, but
they have like
They have,
mental
like,
turmoil. Turmoil.
yeah, it's like they're like a totally different person. Like even like the old Jokers like Jack Nicholson and stuff warned. Who played the
Oh, I'm sorry.
Who played the second
get you a new
newest
one.
Joker? That was. It's not Joaquin. Who's the one
Joaquin
who played
Phoenix?
the second newest one? He was a really shitty Joker.
Leto. Yes.
Leto, yeah. So, like, Jack Nicholson and someone else, like, talked to Leto and was like, be careful. Like, be careful how far you get into this character because, like, it will consume you.
Right.
And they were, like, dead serious about it. It was, like, super eerie to, like, listen to, but then you realize, like, how fucked up people got from playing that role. So, like, I very much agree with, like, you know, what you were saying with the, my brain just fucking is spinning right now. I'm trying to remember what I was going to talk about.
Like the,
I hate
actually,
that you
like,
lose the point. Like
where you're actually like in depth with your character.
Yeah.
And, like,
you were giving the example of like the mother thing.
right. And like
Yeah.
I feel like you don't have to like. So like my biggest complaint, right, is like when I would DM for like Dungeons and Dragons, you would look, like players are looking at their character sheet like 95% of the game.
Yeah.
They're never making eye contact with the people they're talking to. They're never like looking at like the map or the field unless it's for like a tactical reason. And it's like your head is so far up your character sheet's ass, like you don't even know what's happening.
Yeah.
And
That
so many
was
people,
me,
and so
like,
many
90%
people
of the time, I didn't know what was going on because I was trying to
like,
remember
figure
what
out,
all my
right?
characters
Yeah,
And
would
you're not-
do
and you're not-
and strategize.
she'd be, like,
And I'm like,
pulling on my sleeve,
Yeah.
like, hey, what do I do?
yeah.
And I'm like,
Right.
you just look and see how you want to attack next, and it's like, oh, okay.
But the thing is, then,
Like-
is you lose sight of what just happened in the game, because then when it comes around your turn, like
You were too busy playing
you
in
were
your
too
attack.
busy,
You don't know
like-
what's happened in that.
Yeah.
That's what
knowing
I
out,
wanted-
like what the
Yep.
hell's happening.
I wanted to talk to you about the Egyptian campaign. This is
I-
a separate thing, but I thought of being like, what if we just did the Egyptian campaign but changed it to like Simply Six?
Oh yeah, I was already thinking about that
because
before.
I'm like, me and Krista were talking about this, and she's like, I don't even remember what happened last time, and I'm like, well, we shit. I was like, I
All
don't
I
know
remember
what
was we
happened.
fell down a hole.
Yeah, we fell
I was
down
like,
a
I don't
hole.
even
My
know what I
hands
was
doing.
doing.
My hands are in
hurt.
a puzzle. Both my hands are in
Yeah,
a
because
puzzle.
in Simply Six you can run magic, which that's no problem at all.
Well,
Yeah.
see, like,
It's
my
not-
biggest thing too is like, I feel like from the podcast aspect of it, D&D is a very hard one to do as a podcast, especially because we're not doing any kind of video or anything yet.
Mm-hmm.
So you're really just hearing us shuffle through paper and
Roll
sit here in
dice.
silence and try to figure
Right.
out,
Do jack
whereas
shit.
it's not like a visual thing. Because I'm thinking of like Critical Role. They have the visual, and they also have players who have been playing for like ever.
But
But
they're also trained actors.
Right.
Like,
Right.
And so, like,
with
bringing
you know,
in-
they're
Yeah.
voice actors, regular actors,
Yeah.
like they have their shit known for that.
And
Yeah.
that's why, like, bringing in, like, a new player like Krista, I felt bad because, like, throwing her into this to where it's, here's a whole new character that you've never played before in a whole new campaign.
Yeah, it's like
Go.
she
Like,
was
it's
just
really
getting
hard.
used to Frondosa, her old character. Like she was just getting used to her, and then like
and that took 2 years.
Right.
yeah, and like this is no offense to you whatsoever.
No. So
Yeah.
my thing is with our very first campaign, we tried to do so much for our very first episode.
okay.
Right.
yeah, we
doing
did a
anything with a
full
podcast.
campaign,
Yeah.
like a full campaign. It was
Right.
like to the point where it got like almost the whole way through the first part of it, and Krista and I were talking. Krista's like, I don't know what's happening. I'm like, oh, well, we're just going to like the Capitol because Jake's, getting like, whatever.
Jake's dad is
Yeah,
a part of
yeah,
it and blah blah
yeah,
blah.
like blah blah blah, and then she's like, no, but like the
Why?
original goal, and I was
Right.
like, oh, we were supposed to find books.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
I did.
And then I realized I was like talking to like Dylan, Kaylin, Jake, all of them, and I was like, yo, we like lost sight of it completely. And I think it was Kaylin that was like, yeah, like I realized that, and I'm like, I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. It was a lot for like, and the thing is, it was Jake's first time, Krista's first time, Kaylin's first time, like.
The only
think-
people that kind of knew what they were doing was me and Cody.
And Dylan.
And then a little bit of Dylan.
And
Well,
Megan.
see, and that's
A
where
little bit of Megan.
that's another thing
Yeah.
where I feel like, so like we do these one-offs and everything and all that. If we ever wanted to have someone join in, like whether it be Josh or JD or whoever wants to join in to something that's not a CNC talk,
Shout out to JD.
shout out to JD.
Just,
But like if they wanted to join in on something, we would have to roll them a whole character, get them in, try to get them to understand just
What
the
the fuck
basics
they're
of this.
doing.
Whereas if it was a Simply Six or Cthulhu Dark kind of aspect of it, we would be able to just, here's your character sheet, it's one sheet of paper, this is what's
Yeah.
happening, and then boom, they can jump into the story. And I feel like it's a lot easier because it flows better, but I also feel like it's easier from a DM aspect too, because in D&D you have rules and all this different shit. Like there's
a lot
so
of rules
much.
and regulations.
Yeah.
You're right. You're
It's
a good
like-
point. So you
Yeah.
had rules and regulations
from the
to
DM
it,
standpoint,
where
because
it's like,
then, you know,
this
you
is
have-
supposed to be like fun and creative. Like, what's happening?
Well, and then you have bludgeoning damage, piercing damage, you have acid, you have like all of those things. You have to take all of those into account. You have to take into account like, oh, who's resistant to all of these things. Like
Yep.
there's so much into that. Whereas with these other forms, I feel like it's a lot easier to kind of make the story flow better because you don't have to stop and think, well, this and this and this and this, and well, I can't
Like
do
a-
this because
like
of
a-
this, and
like a
I
car
was
just
doing-
ran me over, and that's bludgeoning damage, and blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah.
Right.
Or you can
But,
just like,
oh, I'm immune
shit,
to
you-
bludgeoning,
you,
so-
you're like, no, you have a fucking car on you,
Yeah,
dude.
you
Like
got
you're
hit by a car.
you're
Your
dying.
fucking hip is broken.
yeah,
like,
like you're
yeah.
dying.
yeah.
to kind of like I think I put together everything that you said and I like agree with it to like summarize it basically. I think one of the cool things that I realized about Simply Six is from a DM's perspective, like you mentioned, it takes all the wonderful things about DMing and it removes the hassle. Because like you still like I know you've talked about it before for like your personal like love for DMing, the world building. You still get to do that.
Yeah.
Like all the interactions, encounters, everything. You still get to do all of that stuff. It's just instead of keeping track of the whole campaign and trying to keep it flowing, you're also keeping track of all the characters and
And
making sure everything's good with them.
And their backstories and all of these
Yeah.
extra NPCs that they talk to and a part of and all that other shit.
Yeah, and then it just like dumbs it down where it's like, okay, I can focus on the story and focus on keeping things flowing and focus on like the real fun parts of it, and I don't have to worry about all this technical bullshit that I have to deal with.
It's like
the pacing is so
yeah.
Yeah.
more efficient.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did notice
It's more.
that
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
the difference between like the Egyptian campaign to our one-offs is like we like run through that shit. You know, we are, and I'm not saying like, oh, it's quick or anything like that. We are like your turn, my turn. Like it's got a really good flow to it.
We don't have to think about it too
Whereas
hard.
like because it's so easy with the, you know, like, well, I'm a secretary. What can a secretary do? Oh, you know, but then you still have that fun aspect of like trying to like argue your points of it, like instead of being
that's
like
the
That's my
most
favorite.
fun
Yeah,
part.
that's my
Like,
favorite part.
instead of it
arguing
being
why
like-
that would work.
Yeah.
like, oh, you have to roll for dexterity. Well, instead it's like for me, I was a secretary.
I run around
I
all
ca-
the time. I dive
Yeah.
out of coffee.
I'm a milkman, and
I'm a milkman. I'm really
let's-
fucking strong.
I was gonna say, let's just talk about how a milkman and an RPG became OP.
Yeah.
How the actual fuck is that humanly possible? But it was.
Do you know what the best part of the milkman was?
the milk.
No, whenever you turned around and you looked at him and you were like, I'm a milkman. I know where everybody lives because I deliver them constantly. It's like, he was just like, well, that's going to cut a huge part out of the investigation piece because you know where his house is. Like, you know where his actual residence is. And I was like, it's so cool that it's like, it makes it so that, like, you actually, like, kind of push the DM to, like, how do I want to say this? To kind of think on the fly more.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's easier for them to think on the fly.
Yeah, because it's like
and they can,
it's like instinctual.
Yeah, it
it's a natural process.
it
because you
leaves
can
you
be
up
like,
to
oh
your
yeah,
creativity.
yeah, like oh yeah, no, he could totally do that. He would have that knowledge. And that's another thing too. Is like in D&D, like right. So if you're a certain person, you should be able to do certain things, but like. You can't because
You
of
have
like
to
the
roll for it. You
rules
have
and
to roll for it, yeah.
regulations and all this other
That's
bullshit.
one of the things.
And like like skills, you know what I mean? And it's like if Noah's a milkman, he would definitely have that information.
Right.
I
Instead
can't
of
strip
rolling
it
for
from
knowledge and like, oh, I got
Yeah.
a fucking 2. I don't know
like,
anything.
no, he
I'm
just-
just fucking
he should know
stupid.
that, you know?
Instead, he's a milkman. That is his job. He knows where that is. Like,
a side note to all of this as well. I feel like in D&D, it's way easier to metagame.
Yeah.
Yes.
In Simply Six, I've noticed, like, I've sat there and been like, I don't know what's coming next.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know what's happening. Like, it's so hard to metagame.
Yep.
Like, but with D&D, I feel like it's like,
There's
oh,
so many
like-
stories. There's so many books that already have everything that can be in a D&D campaign. And even
Yeah.
with
I
homebrew,
was
they're
gonna
like,
say.
oh, it's a dragon. Oh, it has one of the breath weapons, and it's
gonna have this. It's gonna have
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
that is like a big thing. Like, you encounter this monster. You've never seen it before in this campaign, so you're supposed to not know anything. But as players, we're like, oh, well, their fucking weakness is this, so we'll just only hit them with this. And that's...
Okay, so you brought up a fantastic point, right? Because this
you.
drove
Very
me
smart.
this drove me nuts. when I would DM for D&D, I would put out a very specific monster, right? I would either have players that would pull out the monster manual to look it up, okay, which for one I fucking hated, or they would just automatically know, okay, it's a whatever, it has X amount of HP, and they would be calculating on their whatever, and they'd be like, oh, okay guys, it has roughly about 10 HP left, do this next. And I'm like, that drives me insane. You don't know, that monster could be 10 times bigger than, they're not all the same.
Yeah.
But by rules, they are.
Right.
You know?
Remember when I did that with the Halloween one-shot? You're like, oh, this is a chainer demon. And then you're like, why the fuck is it so powerful? I'm like, because it's a chainer demon, but I made up everything else.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, oh, we don't know what the stats are now.
Yeah, and it drove me nuts.
I would do that all the time. I ran a one-shot one time. Mm-hmm. Well, I've done a couple, actually, now that I think about it. I've done a couple, but I did a Halloween one where these, the characters fell asleep in the woods and then woke up. And when they woke up, they were in a inn.
Oh, okay.
And they were sleeping. They're like, what the fuck? And they're just like, this is weird. And they came down and they were like, oh, welcome. Yeah, you guys came in late last night, all this stuff. And they were like, what's going on? Why is it's just weird? And I ran the whole one shot, and they had to fight 3 major demons and then fight a boss. And once they fought the boss, they went through this portal, and they came out into golden wheat fields, and there was these 2 people who just had tears streaming down their face, and they're like, welcome, welcome children, everything, blah, 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 we're so happy to have you here, and they were in the afterlife. And then I read a little ending, what's that called? Is it an excerpt?
A blurb?
Synopsis?
Excerpt. Yeah.
An
excerpt
yeah, at
prologue.
the end. Yeah, a prologue at the end, and I was like, so it's 2 weeks since the events took place. There's travelers walking through the woods, and they come across the bodies of an orc, of this, and this, who all had their throats slit in the middle of the night.
Oh, okay.
And then they are like, oh shit, they died in their
Right.
sleep, and they just went through purgatory to get to the other side.
Gotcha.
And if they face these demons, and just me doing that one shot, that very small thing, I was trying to keep track of so many things, and now that I look back, I'm like, that would have been so fun with Simply Six.
Yeah.
I could have made it so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
It's so cool.
I think it's just because it allows you so much freedom to think naturally.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, when it all comes down to it, RPGs are just storytelling games. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? At its very basics thing, we could do it now. We don't have to have anything. You don't have to have pens, pencils. You could literally just start telling a story and people could add to it, right?
Yeah.
But certain games like D&D just take so much mechanical aspect into things, and it's so rough. But I just didn't know how you guys thought about stuff like that.
I think like you said, to sum that up, it takes a lot of fucking brain power to play D&D, and not a lot. Well, it takes a lot of creativity to create it and stuff, but it doesn't allow you to play it to your full potential as other TTRPGs.
I do have to say another thing with D&D is there has never been a time where we're playing D&D and in that group I'm like, man, I wish we had more players. It's always fuck, I wish there wasn't this many fucking people.
3 of us.
I wish there was one of us. Can I be the only one? My turn took 46 minutes last time.
So, you can't
For the
have
love
a
of
whole
cock.
group of people, because then it's it's fucking excruciating. But with the Simply Six and stuff like that, it goes so smoothly. I'm like, damn, we should get more people in here. This is fucking fun.
And Tyler, during the one that we did, he was just like I've had people do this to me. I think you did it to me at one point, and I yelled at you like during our first campaign. I was like, "Don't fucking do that," because like
time limit.
Yeah, you were like, "All right, hey, they're coming towards you. 10 seconds."
I love the time limit
9
because
seconds.
it makes you have to think quickly. It makes you want to like shit. Real time. I have to do something or I'm fucked.
And like my
Yeah.
thing is, I think that would have been an enjoyable challenge in Simply Six. In D&D, I'm like fucking flipping through papers. Like I don't have like I have to read these spells the rest of the way to figure out what's going on. Like I don't know. The best example of somebody who did think pretty quickly, and it was super cool because it was like she had no experience or anything. Krista, we were facing against these creatures called Snefra.
It was
And they
a
were like
homebrew
huge
thing.
dogs.
They
Okay.
were blind.
They were like cat
had a-
dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
So
had,
they had no ass.
Picture like a giant dog that's a mole.
Oh, okay.
yeah, no eye, like
Yeah.
somewhat beak, but it was based in the tundra. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So basically, this whole thing,
Yeah, we're still good.
was like, how do I want to explain this? The whole thing was like, we got into this hive and we were like, they started coming out, and my character was an
They would
asshole.
come out of the ground.
So I'm just like, come and get me! Like, fucking screaming, and they're coming out. Like, I was just playing into my character, and then I was like, I got us all in deep shit, and it led to my character leaving the party for a little while.
Gotcha.
And then I took on a new character for a short amount of time while my character was, like, quote-unquote training. And when this happened, Krista was sitting there, and she was like, it was like a super proud moment because I was like, this girl knows nothing about D&D. And she's like, Noah, Snefra is a shapeshifter, right? And he's like, yeah.
Yes, because they were small and because they were coming out of holes in the ground, and then once they saw the moonlight, they grew.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they could come out of like these little holes, like
okay.
dog-sized
Yeah, yeah.
holes. And then as soon as they came out, they were like fucking
Huge,
like
yeah.
erupting into like this huge creature.
Giant mole men.
And Krista's like, I'm gonna use Moonbeam. And she just melted them. And we were like, this is it. She's
Because
the Snefra killer. Like, this is it.
Negates the shapeshifting.
Yeah.
so-
Right.
And they just
That's
turned
cool.
into these small creatures again, and we just like stomped them.
Because
That's
when they were
cool.
big, they had a lot of hit points. Both
Yeah.
and when they were small, they only had like 10.
Yeah, they
or
were like
so.
a dog.
So you could just
Yeah.
like
Literally,
fucking
you
punt
could
them
just
and they were
stomp
dead.
them. Yeah. And like that was like one of the things I'm like, man, like that's where like going back to the like Simply Six comparison and stuff, like I feel like instances like that would happen way more in
Oh.
a Simply Six version rather than
Yep.
where we're like trying to juggle a bunch of stuff.
Yep.
Because everybody knows. I mean, think about like playing Magic or D&D anything. How many times have we misread a card one word and I'm like, oh fuck, this could have done so much more.
Yeah. Or, oh shit, that doesn't work the way I think it does.
Yeah.
And like, that doesn't work at all.
Yeah. I mean, even in that time, if the DM doesn't catch it or something, then it's like,
Yeah.
oh, well, we were just playing it wrong. But like, if it's like, oh shit, like I could have saved, like, oh fuck, we're in D&D. I could have saved Noah's character from dying, and I fucking
Right.
didn't because I didn't read it right.
Right.
Like at that point, it takes you out of the game, and then in real life, you're just frustrated.
Right.
With Simply Six, I've never been frustrated.
Right. No, absolutely. And I will say this about Simply Six's magic thing, because you said about, doing magic in the Simply Six form. So it's so fantastic because like in D&D you pick your spells and whatever, and it's some are for sorcery, that sort of bullshit,
Yeah.
right? In Simply Six, the only thing that they ask of you is that you choose a theme for your magic.
So like necromancy.
Right. But you can, as long as you can physically, like creatively, like think of a way how that theme works. So like say like the one person that I was playing with, they were like a not a hobbit, like a hermit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they wanted to do like all things based around nature magic.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, yeah, that's a theme. Nature magic could be a thing. And we came to like a river, and instead of him being like, because he didn't like choose water, he wanted to be like earthly style powers. And then they came to this like large river that they couldn't cross, and they were trying to figure out a way. And he's like, could I create like a vinewood bridge?
Yeah, okay, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Right? And he's like, and I was like, yeah, that would be considered nature magic. So he like, you roll the dice. It's the only thing, which I also really like about the Simply Six thing, is you roll to see if a spell works. Because not all spells are just like instantly cast. Because in Simply Six, you have to get a 7 or higher for your thing to work. So you would roll your 2 dice, and as long as you got a 7 or higher, whatever spell you wanted it to do, it happens. So like say if you want to like cast a spell to create a bridge, that's why magic is a little neutered in Simply Six, just because you have a massive, endless like wealth of ideas that you can make. You don't have to like think about stuff. So he like rolled his 2 dice. I think he got like an 8. And all of a sudden, these roots like sprouted out of the ground and twisted together and created a bridge across. And then he was able to walk over.
So it's just like cut and dry, kind of.
Yeah.
Like you're just like, hey, like it either does or doesn't.
Right.
There's no in between.
Yeah, there's no in between.
Okay.
It either works or it doesn't work. And then also as far as like dealing damage with
That's
spells,
what I was gonna ask. Yeah.
it works just like normal melee combat. Everything only deals 1 point of damage unless you want to like you can give up one of your die to have it deal more damage.
Okay, so
like,
you just like
it's like a dice pool sort of thing.
Okay, so you just adjust like obviously it's like instead of having 800 hit points, you'd have like 18.
You have like 3. When you play Simply Six,
I mean,
like you have like 3.
A
okay.
creature.
Yeah.
Like if you're fighting like the main boss or something, you could be like it has like 15 hit points.
Even if it had like 10, that would be a lot.
Okay.
like because you as a player, you start off.
Well, I guess it depends on how many people you have too.
Yeah, and everybody usually starts off with like 3 HP. So like, you know, like a boss, you know, in a group of 4 would be like 10, because you're only dealing like 1 or 2 hit points.
Yeah, on a good roll.
Yeah, you're
day,
doing like 2.
It would be like 2 or 3 rounds of combat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's another thing that I like with this is like, I don't know, like I know in D&D you don't have to fight every monster you come across that pops up in wherever you are, but in a lot of scenarios you do have to fight whatever it is. But I feel like with the Simply Six and Cthulhu Dark, there's a lot of ways to get around it. Like when we were in the house and those...
I was just about to say in the basement.
Yes, and we both looked at each other and went, basement, and took off to the basement. That was a thing that we did not have to fight to get out.
How did we
like,
get through that? Didn't I shoot the lock that was on the basement door? Or no,
we had the key.
We found the key in the cupboard. It was taped on it.
Yeah, and then we went to the basement and found the hidden door and escaped that way.
Yeah, after the fucking fetus.
Yeah.
That thing was terrifying.
As it's crawling all over the ceiling. It was all my favorite thing though from that whole thing is you're like, I'm gonna go back out the bathroom window and we're gonna get out of here. And like as soon as you rounded the corner and there was that like figure standing outside of the bathroom window, and then you're like, fuck. And you're like, I start to back up and I'm like, it gets closer and starts to put a leg into the window. You're like, we need to get the fuck out of here. And I was like, I think that's really what I like about it too, is like you get this sense of like urgency.
Yeah, well,
it creates like fear, which is hard to play in a D&D setting like this. Like it creates fear, and that's like an intense thing.
That was one of my absolute favorite things ever, and what pissed me off so bad about the one we lost, the recording we lost, was because we all had that sense of, oh my god, panic, fear. And when that bang went off,
when Noah shot that gun, I shit my pants.
You could not time it more perfectly, and it gave you that rapid heartbeat. Oh my god, my stomach is in my fucking chest. Like I am in an all-out panic. I have never once had that with D&D where I'm like in a panic. Oh my god, I gotta decide, because everyone takes fucking 10 minutes for their goddamn turn.
Yeah.
And with Simply Six, I feel like you're really, really able to do the go now. It's coming at you. Like when we were in that bathroom, monsters coming in the window, and we're sitting there like fuck, and he's like, it's coming through the window now. And that's when we were like, boom, basement, go. Like,
I feel like, I think you mentioned it a little bit, but like, to say it a different way, it's like rather than in D&D, Simply Six, like, it allows you to, in the real time panics, like what I talked about hating with D&D, instead of reacting strategically, it allows you to react emotionally and genuinely.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like you get a very true reaction.
What would I do in real life? I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Exactly.
Like, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, there's got to be something. And I'm like, the only place to go, like, that's whenever we looked at it, I was like, the only place we have is the basement. Like,
right.
We have to go. Like, there's no other choice. And we were like, we got down there and we're like, get as many fucking things against that door as you can.
Yep.
I felt this.
Like,
it's a very human reaction to that. Like, very wholly and truly. Because, like, well, I mean, look at D&D to where no one fucking plays a human. Not a goddamn person ever plays fucking human.
Easy.
Like, I'm just saying though, like 9 times out of 10, you're choosing something else. You're
choosing a bird. You're choosing an orc. You're choosing
you're choosing a fucking dragonborn. You're choosing, like, there's so many things that you choose that aren't. I mean, I'm always elf. I'm always either a half elf or an elf, and then you're fucking a wizard. You're a goddamn, there's a bunch of different shit.
Wizard, Harry.
Whereas in these other ones, we're realistic stuff. So I mean, I played a secretary. I am a fucking secretary. So, like, to me, I'm like, okay, what do I do in real life that could benefit me in this game? Whereas I'm not like, well, I'm a dragon, so dragons do this and dragons have this, and according to my lineage, I can do this. Like, that sort of shit.
You're getting fucked.
She's fucking targeting Ranto so hard.
Fuck you, Cody.
So, a counterpoint. So, we've been picking on D&D.
Yeah, this is the Fuck D&D podcast.
So, going the other direction. The only thing I don't like about Simply Six versus D&D is the versatility of it. I will say, like, you can probably do certain things to boost things, but with hitting and doing damage and stuff, I mean, it seems like, it's simply, it's a simple design. With D&D, like, one of my favorite parts of our campaign was the day I got my baby. It was Volt Edge. Oh. Volt Edge was a sword that I got. Mm-hmm. And it did, like, every hit, it did an extra D8.
D6 or a D8 of lightning damage.
Of lightning damage. And then it, like, also allowed me to have an extra breath attack where I could, like, shoot my breath attack and go like this and shoot another one.
Oh, okay.
And, like, there was one point I was going to talk to you about it. I didn't get a chance to. I was going to see if I could, like, shoot my Volt Edge with my breath attack and do, like, a fucking, like, huge attack with it, like, to power it up. But, like...
I would have been fine with it.
Yeah. Well, I got the idea because we watched the Godzilla versus Kong or whatever. And Godzilla, or he went like that with it, and Godzilla hit his axe, and it started glowing, and then he just went like this, and, like, it was like an eruption. I wanted to do something like that where it turned it into, like, almost like a shatter spell whenever I hit with it, instead of, like, it was like the physical attack plus a full attack, like, magic attack. And like I said, I never got a chance to do it, but I was like, that's the only thing with Simply Six is, like, okay, you can give me, like, special items and stuff.
I was gonna say they do have, so, like, Simply Six has, like, a thing, like a items creation slot.
Yeah.
Where you can make up, like, the DM obviously can make up whatever item they want it to be, and it can have whatever special ability also that you want it to have. So, like, he can make it like he can make an axe that when you hit does an extra 4 damage or whatever.
Well, like, in Simply Six, wouldn't it be, like, just an extra, like, 1 point of damage or something? Like, it does.
I mean, if he wants to make it do fucking crazy, he can make it whatever.
Okay.
He can make it, like, like, shoot cum out your ass. It doesn't fucking matter. Like,
so like if it was like a
take
thing,
your shoes
hey,
off.
This will do 10
They're already
points of damage,
off.
but you immediately die from it.
Yeah, you could do whatever
you
you
max
want.
out on insanity. Like, you like,
you could make whatever.
Yeah, if you don't roll a 6 on this dice or a 1 on this dice, you automatically die from insanity or whatever.
And, like, another thing that Simply Six has that I don't know if you read it, but, like, when you level up, right, you get an extra die to add to your dice pool to make it so that you can put them into whatever slot you want. You can put them into your combat slot, and you can get rid of a die to add an extra point of damage. So like every time you level up, you can continue to put your dice in a certain pool and then subtract them to deal more and more damage per thing. They also have a thing, so when you level up, you get an extra hit point, you get an extra die to put in whatever dice pool you want, and then you also gain an ability. And they have a whole page of abilities, and abilities also give you different aspects, kind of like feats in D&D.
Okay.
And those also do the same thing too. Like there's like, I forget what some of them are, but like they'll like make it so that when you do attack, you automatically do an extra 2 points of damage, or you can go invisible for X amount of time,
or like an AOE damage, where it hits everybody, including friendlies. Like
right, yeah. There's a whole bunch of like
okay.
other abilities that you can choose from that as well.
See, that would be super cool. I'd like to like dabble in that. At some point.
If you look,
I think it would be super.
Yeah,
cool.
if you look, when you level up, you choose an ability. You choose an ability, you get an extra hit point, and you get an extra die to throw into whatever you want. So.
Oh, so there's another aspect that I wanted to see if you guys agree with.
I can't work it in yet.
Yeah, that's fine.
You can work it in right now.
Yeah, you can. Go ahead.
Okay.
Let's put her on the spot.
Now you have
we're
to.
gonna put her on the spot.
I wanted to say it from my perspective.
Oh,
Playing
okay.
D&D,
Yeah, I'm
a new player. Yeah.
Yeah. So, first thing, I don't have an internal monologue.
Oh.
That fucks with me. We just had a conversation before we came.
Can you explain that?
Problem solving and critical thinking, very time consuming.
Okay.
So, like, if I have an issue with, like, let's just take my business, for example. Mm-hmm. If something comes up, I have to actively think about it. It doesn't just, like, I don't talk to myself in my head.
Oh. Yeah, so
I talk to myself nonstop.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I can sit here and go.
I get pissed at myself. I'm like, shut the fuck up. And I'm like,
yeah, I can sit here and I can be like, I wonder what's gonna, if I do this and do that, like whatever. Or I'll sit there and like, I won't say anything, but I'll turn around and I'll be like, I need to do this, this, and this today in my head. I say that in my head to myself.
Yep.
Crickets. She doesn't have that. She has to either say it out loud or she has to actively be like, okay, like.
So, like,
what? Like,
for example, Cody will ask me, hey, what do you think about this? I don't know. You have to give me a minute to think about it.
So you don't have like an internal whiteboard?
I'm
Nope.
not.
Like I write stuff on my internal whiteboard every day.
Like,
exactly.
I'm not very opinionated because I don't like consider stuff a lot. Like,
best way to put it, she does not have shower thoughts.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's the best way to put it. It's
my
empty.
brain's always going.
So in
voice.
terms of like,
not even words.
I have never been the type of person that likes to be challenged for that reason because I always feel like I'm unprepared.
Okay.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So let's say like someone asks you, what do you want for dinner?
I have to think about it.
What goes
as
on?
As soon as you ask me that, I go, what am I hungry for? What could I eat right now? So, but those thoughts haven't already existed.
Yeah, it's
until
not like she's just
that.
sitting there.
Right.
It's not like she's just sitting there like, maybe I'll have this for dinner. Like, random things don't pop into her head like that.
Yeah.
That blows my mind
Yeah.
because like my brain is
That's what I mean. So
like
like
nonstop.
Tyler
doing
will
that.
ask me what I want for dinner, and he hates when I do this. I'll close my eyes and I picture a recipe book. And I'm flipping through the pages, and it's just of things that like random foods that are popping into my head. That's what's in my book.
It's like
and I'm
Pinterest
going
in your
through.
brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like
So
we have that thing we can flip. The best way I explained it is like we flip through file cabinets in our head.
100%.
She doesn't have file cabinets.
Mine is like
she's writing it on the spot.
No, mine is like, if I can try to explain this in like imagery, it's a pool of water that you're throwing a pebble into one at a time.
Oh.
It's crazy. Because we had this discussion.
That's really sad, actually. Like I would hate that.
We used to watch a couple on YouTube, and like I sit there and I'm
causes
like,
a lot of arguments.
I would hate that.
We had a slight, I don't want to call it an argument, but a slight disagreement and like a discussion before we came here today. I thought she was giving me attitude, and then I was like, all right, I'm just going to give her some space. Well, she took that as like I was walking on eggshells. So we go through this whole thing, and she's like, what is going on? Like, you're acting like you're, like, walking on eggshells. Like, what is going on? Like, I just felt like, you know, you were kind of, like, you know... Like,
upset about something.
Doing something. Like, you were kind of, like, argumentative with things with me. And she immediately got mad at me. And she just started, like, firing back. And she got defensive. And I was like, why don't you just, like, take a step back and be like, okay... Like, and she's like, I don't think like that. Like, that's not how my brain works. I don't talk to myself in my own head. So she can't tell herself, hey, I need to take a step back, chill, and be like, formulate what I'm going to say beforehand. She just talks.
Right.
Like, I don't know what I'm going to say before I say it. The words just happen.
Yeah, you know how, like, if you and I were going to have a
really
conversation,
weird.
A serious conversation.
Yeah.
You would go, okay, how am I going to approach Cody with this?
Right, or
blah, blah,
like
blah,
what,
blah.
like, yeah, what words do I choose?
Play out 10 different scenarios.
She doesn't do that. That's not a thing that occurs with her. She just literally goes, I don't know what to say. And then she goes over and then she'll, like, say something. And then I'm like, don't say that. And she's like, I don't know what to say. It sounded fine when I said it. I'm like, yeah, but you have to look at it from these angles. Whenever I say, like, my ADHD... I've always had an argument with her where I'm like, I don't do it very often because it kind of comes across as like misogynistic kind of, and I don't want it to. But like, she knows that like, I sit there and I'm like, Krista, in my head, I have already run through like 30 different scenarios, and this is not the correct way to handle it except for this way.
Right.
Like, I can tell you, I've already gone through all of them, and I'm like, what about you? And she's like, I haven't thought about it at all.
Right. That's fair.
I'm like, that's what causes a lot of our arguments is I sit there and I'm like, yeah, but, all right, like, it was something about, like, she was going to buy something, and I'm like, oh, well, we're just not going to spend the money on it then. You can just put it through your business if you're going to buy it for your business. She's like, well, you just said you were going to buy, and I'm like, yeah, but I already figured it out. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Or, like, we're working on the house with something. I'll sit there and, like, be staring at something for, like, 10 minutes. And she's like, just do this. And I'm like, it's not going to work that way. And then she'll start arguing with me, and I'm like, Krista, it's not going to work like that. And she's like, just keeps arguing. And I'm like, all right, fine, fuck it. And then I do it, and then it fucks up. And then I'm like, I fucking told you. And then, like, at that point, I feel like shit because I'm like, oh, well, like, I was, like, extra aggressive for no reason. But at the same time, I'm sitting there like, I told you. Like, I already know that it's not going to work. Like, for this reason, this reason, this reason, and this reason. And it's just like... You know, sometimes, like, especially, like, lately, I've been getting better at, like, reminding myself that. I'm like, just chill out. Like, it's fine. I just need to calmly explain why it's not going to work. Because I'm not a patient person a lot. So, usually if it's, like, if somebody, like, well, not just somebody. If, like, her or, like, my dad and I are, like, the same person. I get it from him. So, like, my dad, my mom, whatever... If they say something, I'm just like, that's not going to work. And then they, like, immediately when I get pushback, I'm just like, it's not going to fucking work. Like, I've already thought about it. It's not going to work. And then it comes across as me being like, shut the fuck up because you're stupid and you don't know what you're talking about.
I would say it comes across, like, from my perspective that, like, you always have to be right.
Like,
yeah.
But that's just
almost.
because I don't think about it as I'm reacting to you.
Well, see, on that aspect of it was like what you said, where like you don't think of what you're going to say before you say it. Mm-hmm. I have that same thing because with my brain damage, I think of something in my head and I'm like, this is how I want to say it. This is what I want my point to be. And then I say it and it's not coming across the way I want it to. It's not, like, we have that problem all the time where, like, I will say something to Tyler and he'll be, like, instantly pissed. He's, you know, really upset because...
Like, why the fuck would you say that?
Right, because what I'm saying, I'm saying it like I'm pissed off, like, fuck you, and, like, but that's not how in my brain it was. It's just to get it to process. So I've stopped doing that to where I'm, like, I'm sitting down, I'm thinking, this is what I need to say, this is what needs to happen, like, you know, that, because it gets jumbled in that process of what I want to say. So it just pisses me off. So I don't like to think about things that I'm going to say before I say it.
Yeah.
And it just makes things so much more difficult. And it's like, it's to that point where I'm like, I'm just going to fucking say something. And then from there, try to expand off of it because I can't, it doesn't come across at all. Like,
that's like with her, she does the same thing with, what were we talking about earlier? We were talking about your memory. I think the internal monologue thing, like not having it, I think that's why our memory sucks so bad. Like we've discussed.
Well, yeah, because you're not like constantly reminding yourself.
Picturing,
you're not
in your
replaying
head.
stuff.
Yeah, you're not
I have
picturing
terrible recall.
See,
Like-
do you now? So since you're not like you have no inner monologue, do you have like where like you do start thinking about something? You're thinking about like say, you know, you're thinking about doing this project. This is the thing you're thinking about. You're planning on that. Do you have that where it like spirals out of control where now like, oh, what did this and then this and then this and then this and then and it just kind of like you lose the original object?
I do that a lot with like my task lists, and then I get in the freeze response and I don't accomplish anything because I cannot prioritize what I need to get done.
That's one of my biggest things.
When like, what was I just gonna say?
Do you have an internal monologue?
I had a point.
Oh.
But anyway, like we got a little bit off track. But like in terms of D&D and playing games and how that functions, I love games like this because I'm such a fantasy-based person to begin with. So I'm already in love with the aspect of that stuff. But when there are too many aspects to like just my turn, it's too complicated.
It's one of those things, she's either going to pay attention to what's happening, she's going to read her character sheet, or she's going to figure out what her turn is.
Right.
Yeah.
Not all at the same time.
Yeah.
Not like my internal monologue, like the day we figured it out, we were sitting on the couch and we were actually talking about like, I think we were talking about D&D.
I was really upset about it.
Yeah.
I was like, I cannot, like, I'm taking 20 minutes for my turn because I don't know what to do. I don't know what I have. I can't remember what I have.
Right.
And
I
then I
can't
was
remember
like-
what I've already done.
And I was like, just do this. And she's like, what do you mean? And this is when we found out about the internal monologue thing, because I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, how can you multitask like that? I'm like, Krista, I'm talking to you, having a full conversation. I'm texting Dukes on my phone right now, and I'm thinking about what I ate for lunch yesterday because, like, my stomach was a little upset.
And he's
like,
watching
I
a
wonder
YouTube
if
video.
And I was watching a YouTube video and retaining the information.
Yeah, no, I'm
And she's
exactly the
like,
same way.
What the fuck?
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I'm
no, I
with
do
Krista on that to where
I do the same shit,
like,
dude.
I can't, like, I was talking to JD earlier, and I'm trying to run an auction while talking to him, and he would say something, and I would start, like, half a sentence, and then immediately have to start
Like,
typing.
trail off. Yeah.
I was, like, typing, and I can't do that to where, like, oh, yeah, I'm typing and having a full conversation. That just does not work for me.
Yeah.
Like, I have to be like, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. Like, I can't.
Yeah, it's
I
like
can't do
it's,
that.
It's not in a bad way, but it's like a one-track mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that's
See,
exactly it.
That's why I think D&D
And
was
that's-
so hard for me.
Well, that's with D&D. I have only ever played, like, 3 different classes because I know them. And, like, when we were starting this one with the Egyptian one, Tyler's like, yeah, I'm going to try this out. I'm going to try this out. I haven't done this character yet. I'm like, I can't because I know, like, I've played rogues, I've played rangers, and then it's, like, the different, like, you know,
Parts of those.
the different parts of those, like, you know, tinkerer or
Oh, like
whatever.
the archetypes.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
I
yeah.
couldn't
Of
think of
the
the word
same-
for it. So, like, I've played...
Subclasses. That's
Yeah.
what it's-
Yeah, I've played those. But it's like, when I want to switch it up and try something new, I just switch the subclass because I don't know how to run any other character. All of my characters, I am elf, half-elf, and I am a ranger or a rogue. The only thing that was different was I was an imp because of what happened in our campaign. I played as an imp, and we kind of homebrewed an imp as a character, and then I was a rogue imp because I don't know how to do shit, and I don't want to be there like, oh my god, I have, you know, I don't want to worry about, well, I have fucking 4 spell slots left, and I can only do these spells, and, like, I could never get into spells because spells is one that just fucking threw me for a goddamn loop. I cannot understand it. I can't
took me
grasp
a
it.
long
I
time
understood
to
the
understand.
concept of it, but
That's
like actively doing it,
Right.
like
Like, I
was like, oh my
understand,
God.
like, he explains it to me, I understand, like, okay, well, I have these spell slots, I can do this many spells, this is, you know, that makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it comes time to do it, I'm like, can I fucking do this? Like, what do my spell slots do? What's a spell slot? Like, it's instantly, I feel like a goddamn idiot, because I'm sitting there like, how am I not grasping this? But to everyone else, it seems like there's boom, 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 boom. This is, I hate it.
That's why Krista got very comfortable with her character, like I said, Frondosa, and then Noah pushed her to change to add, what was it? Is it
Echo Knight.
For a fighter. Yeah.
Fighter.
Okay.
Yeah.
She was a druid, and then she dabbled in Echo Fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And when she did that, it was like a whole different beast to her, and it made it more confusing. It was cooler because she could do a bunch of other cool things, but then like she started like where she just like wasn't doing stuff. Where I'm like sitting there, and I'd just be like, "Do this," like
Right.
I'm like, "You have Echo Fighter, make an Echo."
Yeah.
And she's like, "I'm gonna make an Echo," like just like literally just like that, and I'm just like. Like, just do that. Like,
you did it. Good job.
and I was kind of like whispering to her the whole time, like, "Hey, like, you know."
It
like,
was just too much for me to keep
Yeah,
track
I feel
of.
like that's another thing with D&D that I love but also hate. You get so much stuff. There are so many things you can do. There's so many weapons you can get that do different things. There's so many items and magic items in this. And it gets to a point in a campaign where you have so much stuff that does so much shit, you're not using it. Like, you focus on one item and maybe two items, you know, that do something, and then you forget about the fucking rest until fucking 6 times later, and then you're like, oh fuck, I have this that I could have used this, and this. But you forget because there's just, I feel like I guess it depends on the DM, but I feel like your magic items are very, you know, they're easy to come by in a lot of shit. So you're getting a bunch of magic items, or you're getting this thing that does this and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, you get so many, it seems useless. Like,
well, what I will say too is like in stuff like Cthulhu Dark, where you start off with like I always like let people pick like 2 or 3 items that they just kind of carry every day. Like, you get so creative with just the random little tiny shit things that you can
milk?
find.
Yeah, like the
the
milk.
milk, that
Like,
shit came in
The fucking
clutch.
piece of paper that had everyone's fucking address.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, so a very simple item can become like so detrimental.
See,
like,
and that's something that's crazy in that point of it. Noah chose milk as a fucking item because he was a milkman.
yeah.
I
Carrier.
chose...
Yeah, I got milk.
I was a secretary, I believe, in that campaign, and I chose a little knife because it's a letter opener. Because secretaries open a lot of mail. Never once in that campaign did I use a knife where I thought having a little knife would be super, super important. You know, anything happens, you know, I have some form of a weapon. And the milk was more handy than the knife I had.
Yeah.
So it's crazy that, like, I put so much thought into it of, like, I chose a notebook and pen and a little knife letter opener. I used my notebook and pen, and it didn't fucking work for what I wanted to use it for. But that was it. The one thing that I was like, oh, I'll fucking throw a pen and paper in because that's not going to be handy. But that is the one thing I used, and milk became the most used fucking item. Whereas nothing else was used. And I like that aspect of it, too, because you never know
Right.
what's actually going to fucking come in handy.
Well, another thing, Chris, that I was going to ask you is, so, like, I've actually met people who, like, you know how, like you said, you don't have an internal monologue? I've met actually a couple people that cannot picture anything in their head. Like, so right now, if I was to describe to you, like a beautiful, red, delicious apple,
It's
and you
like
can, like,
lucid dreaming for
and
me.
you can, like, picture, like, you know, like, the mist on it, and, like, it has, like, a bad spot towards the bottom. Like, people can't... There's certain people that cannot...
Like, they can't draw that in their head.
Yeah, they
sit there, and
cannot.
it's just like a muddle of,
Yeah,
like,
and it...
It's
can
the
you-
absolute
can-
opposite for me.
Okay, so you
and
can-
that's why
you
I
can
love
see
reading
that.
so much.
Okay, I was gonna
So
ask...
you're a very, like, visual person
Yeah.
when
Yes.
it comes to that.
Okay.
Yes.
You just don't have a voice.
Yes.
See, which is weird because like there's times to where like I'm like talking to myself in my head, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm having like a side thought also in my head at the same time, and it's talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I like sometimes I'll stop myself and I'm like, holy shit, I have 3 voices going right now. How's that even possible? And I'm like, I'm having like a group conversation, and I'm
Yeah.
like, and then you're saying that you don't even have one, and I'm like,
So
how?
I read with a voice in my head, like
Okay.
everybody says that they do, whatever.
yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
like I am not talking to myself
Right.
when I'm using my voice.
It's really weird.
Do you look at it as it's yourself? Because like when I'm talking to
No,
myself in my
actually.
head, mine's not myself. It's a completely different person I'm talking
yeah,
to.
it's like an alter ego almost.
Yeah.
Like you're talking to different people.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've had inner monologues where I sit there, and if I'm thinking about something and talking through something, like if it's a discussion I'm gonna have with Krista, I hear her voice talking to me.
That's happened to me before. Yeah.
So like I'm like sitting
Yep.
there, I'm like, okay, if I approach her this way, what is she gonna say? And then
Yeah.
I hear her voice going, hey, like, I didn't
Yeah.
appreciate how you said that, blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, I can't say it that way.
Yeah.
What if I said it this way? Okay, I could see where she would misunderstand how I said this, so I need to adjust this part of like my sentence where it doesn't come off so harsh. And then like I can go through that through my head. And like I've had it where like it's like I assume it's kind of like that thing where like if you have it, you know how they're like if you've had a dream and you see a person in your dream.
Yeah, it's like
It's
usually
somebody
somebody
that
you've
you've
seen
seen
before.
before.
Yeah.
I assume it's kind of the same way. Like all the voices that I hear in my head that I like have these
Make up.
conversations with are random people that I am not thinking of right then.
Right.
Like I could be sitting there and like if I'm talking, I could be like, oh, like that's Tyler's voice. Or
Yeah.
oh, that's Holly's. Oh, that's Noah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Brooks. Like
Yeah.
whatever. Like and like, but it doesn't happen often. But I guarantee you, if I actually put thought into it, I'd be like, oh, that's who I'm talking to right now.
My
So-
inner voice is a little British boy.
I hate that one. Anyways,
Lisa.
so I do have a question though, right? So we like the people that do have internal monologues. Sorry, Krista.
Yeah.
Like
No offense.
when you're talking to yourself, right? And like you're having internal conversations and that sort of thing, do you picture yourself when you're talking?
Sometimes.
No.
Like, do you see a vision of yourself speaking to you?
Like you're
No,
talking to yourself in
mine
the
is-
mirror or something.
right.
Yeah.
Because I got to tell you what
depends.
I see, and it freaks me out.
It depends.
It depends on who I'm trying to talk to. If I'm talking to myself, no. If I'm trying to picture another conversation in my head, I picture a completely separate person.
Okay. So
Yeah,
but
okay,
you
like-
don't. But like, if you're talking to yourself, you're not picturing like yourself.
No, I picture like more like with D&D. I think of the world that I'm building. I'm talking to like 3 of myself that are debating on what I should put in.
Right.
But I see like the world that I'm actually building.
Okay.
You
okay.
see, to me, like if I'm like thinking out a situation or whatever, like daydreaming a situation or whatever, I'm picturing those people and everything like that. But if I am talking to myself, it's just thoughts going on in my head.
Okay.
It's black.
My
Okay,
thing is
so there's
That's
not-
it. It is
yeah.
just a dark room, black.
You know,
Okay.
I was
Thinking.
talking about picturing scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
So, picture it this way. Picture like Deadpool. Okay.
Okay.
Have you watched that movie?
Yeah.
So picture I'm watching a scenario happen, and then literally I'm like going through doing this, and like I would picture Krista saying something back to me. I see myself there. I just go, yo, this isn't gonna work. And I just go, okay, next one. And then I picture like a different scenario, but it happens rapidly.
Okay.
So like I do picture myself in that time, and then I turn around, break the fourth wall, and talk to myself face to face.
Okay.
And then I go, okay, next scenario. And then it moves on from there. But like I said, it's just super rapid where I can do it within like
Yeah.
a couple minutes. I can run through 30 scenarios, and it's just like, bam. Like, because something will happen right away. I'd be like, don't like how that turned out. And then like myself would be like, yeah, that's not good. Like, next one.
See,
It's really freaking weird when you point it out like that.
See, the thing, so like when I'm like talking to myself, even as I'm doing it now, as you were speaking, same thing was happening.
Yeah.
So I always had this like really weird connection with the book Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
Because he always has that portion where he's like walking by a mirror and like Hyde is talking to him through the mirror and he's looking at himself. This always happens to me when I'm having a discussion with myself. I enter in a room that's completely black, but then it starts to fade into like a red haze, and the shadowed version of me walks into frame, but it's me as a child. I'm like 5 or 6, but I have the same voice I do now, but it's deeper, and it's just a shadowy like silhouette, and it like talks to me.
Yeah.
And like it's almost like scary because I know that the person in my head is stronger than who I am as a real person.
Yeah.
Like their opinion is so much like stronger than what I have in real life. And I always have this like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde feeling going on all the time. And it's always because of that like little version, like this little kid version of myself in my head that freaks me out.
So
and like even right now, like he's like I can hear him talking. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like
that's one of the big things is whenever it gets too loud.
Yeah.
When it gets too loud, that's when I'm like, I don't know what's happening. Like I'm pretty sure, I'm not gonna say for sure, but like pretty sure something like that happened earlier whenever I lost my train of thought in the middle of that sentence because I was thinking about something else and I was like,
and you were trying to remember what you wanted to say.
Yeah.
You were trying to do too many things at once.
yeah, and like a lot of that I don't have control with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like mine's not like scary, but I do feel where like where you're coming from, where it's like very much that thing where you feel like they're stronger than you, and I feel like kind of that's where the what'd you say? It wasn't misogynistic. The like having to always be right thing.
Oh, okay.
Is I'm like, yeah, because the smart me fucking said it was the right like.
Yeah, okay, that's a good way
That
to
me
put
said
it.
it was the right one.
Right.
So
There's
like he's better than I am. We listen to him.
Yes.
Like,
no.
that's it.
No, I 100% agree with what I'm. That's kind of what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Is like the version in my head is like.
It has the confidence that we don't.
Yeah, it's like the final form of myself in my head.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, like that is like an ultimate being. They know all, see all, hear all, and like I like have to listen to what they're saying.
Yeah.
Like, and when I go against like what they're saying,
It feels wrong.
it feels wrong, and I'm like, fuck, I hope he doesn't find out. And I'm like, holy shit, like it's me. Like, shut the hell up. What the hell am I doing? Like,
it's like you sit there and it's like, if I go against this, I'm gonna get in trouble.
yeah.
Like you feel like I'm gonna get in trouble if like something's gonna go horribly wrong if I go with this idea that I like
And
that the voice knows is wrong, like not morally wrong, but just incorrect.
yeah.
And like it's more of a hassle or whatever. It's like it's just gonna piss you off in the end. You're gonna get frustrated. You're gonna whatever, you know. And then I sit there and I go, oh, I'm not doing that. Like it's just gonna stress me out more. That's not how this works. Like I'm not doing.
And
that.
I think part of it like might be part of like my disorder sort of thing, because they always talk about like, you know how schizophrenics have like this, there's always like a, for lack of better terms, like they always have like an internal God moment. I don't know if you've ever like heard about that before.
Yeah.
Like where a lot of schizophrenics believe that God is speaking to them.
Oh, God does
Right?
speak to me. Speak to me right now.
But like, you know, like they'll think that like they'll think that like God's speaking to them.
Yeah.
So they then act on those moments, and a lot of times it's not in good ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's kind of where like you know the whole, you know,
Like House of
psychopath
Fire.
sort of stuff like that happens because they're doing it in the name of God, that sort of aspect.
And there's
But-
a lot of people that do the opposite too. It's
Right.
like Satan or
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Like the
you know,
demons made me do it.
Yeah.
And I really can see how that's a possibility because, like I said, in my head, I have this internal version of myself that is like an ultimate being.
Yeah, and it's
so
terrifying.
like, yeah, and
Like,
it's scary. So like, going against its word is, you know, it's scary, and that's why like I understand like people that suffer from those types of disorders, that shit happens.
Yeah.
Like,
No, God is the little British boy in my head.
It's
no, yours is no. He doesn't sell newspapers
He
either.
loves it. He loves it when I run around the house and talk like a little newsy British boy.
I hate it.
We've probably got enough time for maybe one quick
So
topic.
Okay.
Maybe
What are
just
your
one
thoughts
very quick.
on British newsy boys?
okay.
So Newsies, Newsies is a good music.
Do you want me to do mine?
Yeah, do
This is
yours.
okay.
Do yours. It's just a
Okay.
quick one.
Scenario.
Been thinking about this.
It's all good.
day.
Go ahead.
This is
I
gonna
had
be
a
like
segue.
podcast number 7 of you not getting to ask your tattoo questions.
Oh, it's fine. I had a
We'll
segue
get
going
there.
into that, but I'll touch on it later if we have time.
Okay, you're being sold as an action figure.
Oh.
What 2 accessories do you come with?
Oh, I love this question.
Yeah.
Little newsy cap and newspaper.
No, you're not,
Not a
even,
vape. Not a vape.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Okay, let's do it this way. Let's each pick a person in the room, and then we have to give it to them.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Okay, Tyler.
I picked Noah.
Oh shit! I don't like that one.
Okay, so Cody picks me. I pick
Oh,
Noah.
I thought we were gonna go around and like
No,
Tyler. We
no,
each say
no.
something.
Sign.
We assign.
We assign somebody else.
Yes.
I'll do Krista.
Okay.
Okay, Holly, who do you pick? You have to pick Cody.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you only have the
Yeah.
choice
Oh.
for me.
Yeah. Okay.
This is what happens when I get
I
confused.
picked JD.
I
Oh,
picked
yeah.
JD. 2 vapes.
Yeah, 2 vapes. Okay, who wants to go first?
A fucking broken foot in a vape. That's what JD gets.
I want to think about it a little more, so go ahead. Somebody else. Krista, you can probably start since you might have been thinking about this before.
Have you? Because I think
I have my own. Yeah.
Okay, real quick,
I
what do you
got
think? What do you think your own would be?
Should we all go around and do our own
Yeah.
and then see?
Okay.
Or should we start
Okay,
with the
yeah.
opposite
Yeah.
person and at the
Yeah.
end?
Yeah,
I
see
think we
what-
do opposite first because then
Okay.
I
yeah,
feel
we'll
like
do
we'll be
opposite.
able
See,
to-
see if anyone gets close to what you
Okay,
think
yeah.
your
Yeah,
items
yeah.
would be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay, wait. Grab your phone and put your 2 items in it.
Okay, for
Okay.
what we want ourselves to
Yeah,
be.
like
yeah.
type it down and then set your phone down and don't touch it.
Yeah,
Okay.
JD.
Okay.
We're gonna make a game out of this.
2 vapes.
Ooh.
Ooh, I should probably not do that if I'm gonna show other people that.
So it's just 2 accessories. So something that like is you think it's
What would
something
come
like
with your action figure?
like what would come with my action figure?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it,
What you
it
think would
doesn't
come
have
with
to
yours.
be like action figure related.
Well,
it's
yeah.
just
Yeah, like,
items that
kind of
are
like-
related to you.
Yeah.
I was only saying that to JD. Cody, you
So
heard
it doesn't
nothing.
have to be like I'm not gonna come in with a broadsword just because I like fantasy stuff.
Are we
Like,
gonna?
it
Are
could
we
be
talking
just
about
anything.
like clothing?
and any 2 accessories?
Okay.
That
Think of
you
like
would
a
choose.
Barbie with like a purse.
So like Barbie
or
comes
just
with
an
clothes
Okay.
on,
All right.
but then she
Yeah.
gets 2
Suit.
accessories.
Yeah,
her
fair
little
enough,
dog,
fair
or
enough.
Yeah, her little
purse,
dog, or a
or
car,
action
or-
figures. They come with,
Yep.
you know, an extra gun and a fucking
Yep.
grenade.
Sunglasses.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yep.
Could be anything.
Mine are so opposite. Like it sounds like I'm a serial killer.
Mine
I
are
picked
like
my 2 favorite things.
Okay,
goofy.
Okay.
I got mine.
Okay, so you have Tyler.
Yeah, and I have
Tyler
Noah.
has Noah. Noah has
me,
you.
and I have you.
And then
and
I have
Holly
Cody.
has
Okay, so we're doing.
Real quick, we made a star.
We made a star. That's what I was
don't know
just
if
saying. We made a
anybody's-
star.
Wow.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Wow, hell
Boom.
Satan. Here
Yeah.
we go. All right.
I got Krista.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I think first, flat out, it would be a pile of books or just like a bundle of books with you almost at all
A
times.
smut book.
Do you know what I have in my Amazon shopping cart right now?
No.
A smut
It's
book.
a thigh
Oh
book
shit.
holder.
I've seen those.
Dude, those are cool as shit.
I want one so bad.
And then the other one would have to be maybe a small
Dildo.
what? Little stand with like a couple different plants. That's what I kind of
Okay,
picture of
yeah.
what you would have.
The vibe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Before I forget, send me a picture of what that thigh book thing looks like.
Yes.
Josh
I'm
will make it
getting
for
one.
you.
Yeah, out of leather.
it.
Out of leather.
Out of
He
leather.
does leather work.
A leather book holder.
He will literally
does
do
the
that for you.
coolest
It's
shit.
literally like
Just
a
because
fanny
it's like-
pack. It goes around your waist and then it has
Like an
the,
extra strap around
holder
the
and then
thigh?
a strap around the thigh.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, send me a picture of it. Like, look up pictures of like cool different ones and shit. And
Yep.
send me it because I can show it to Josh. He loves doing weird shit like that.
He could
As, like, a
He
challenge.
could probably stamp. Like,
Yeah.
Lord
Oh,
of the
he is
Rings
a
in it.
he has a
Oh, dude,
ton of stamps.
I mean,
and
did you see the my book cover yet? It's pretty dope.
I think it's over. at
That's
the shop.
exciting.
Yeah, sorry. I just
Okay.
wanted to say that
all right.
before I
Yeah,
forgot.
yeah,
Okay,
Chris,
Yeah.
Krista's turn.
Okay,
Who did you
We'll go in
have?
the star.
Holly.
Yeah, we'll
All
go on
right.
the star.
Vape, obviously.
Yeah.
And
I am a nicotine addict. Shout out to
a
vapes.
bumblebee.
And a bumblebee? Yeah, I do like bumblebees.
A little pet bumblebee
Okay.
with a string.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Or
I would keep one in my fucking pocket.
one
if I
of your
could.
goofy purses.
That's fair.
Oh,
Oh,
that's a
yeah.
good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
got my Satan.
Yeah,
purse
vape,
right
a
now.
vape and a goofy purse. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Shout out to Satan.
/ backpack, whichever.
Yeah.
Okay, I had Cody. Wow, I put zero thought into this. I was just listening to everyone else's. I did not think beforehand.
If you want to take a second, I have to pee.
Okay.
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 Oh, there's
Okay.
5 other mouths here.
I was gonna say, do you want me to, Holly? Do you want me to do Noah and then you can think for a second?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for Noah, like, I instantly would it would come with a beanie, right? It would have to come with a beanie.
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like maybe even
Okay.
like an assortment of beanies, but like it would come
I
with
think
a
just
beanie.
a hat in general. I've seen
It'd
you
have to
wear
go
hats.
beanie.
Some
I'm
type
sorry.
of hat.
I don't think I've ever seen you in like a baseball cap. Have I?
Summertime.
I mean,
He'll wear
summertime,
ball
but like
caps
for
all the time.
but like a beanie, if I'm picturing Noah in my head, like I never see his hair.
I will give it to you. I
Like,
do look good in a beanie.
Some form
That's
of
what I'm
hat.
saying. I'm gonna say beanie, and then my second thing is like your giant fucking dice bag.
Oh,
Like
shit.
I don't know why, but like if I'm picturing, he's standing there holding it, like, and then he just slaps it on the table, or lately like a laptop, like a beanie and a laptop.
Fair enough,
But
yeah.
if I had to choose for sure, it would be a beanie and a giant dice bag.
I always
Okay.
picture a pair of shorts. You only wear shorts.
Shorts, yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true too.
That's his with an ass like that. How is he gonna wear
Damn.
jeans?
That fucking
He's
dumpy.
double caked up.
He got that fucking dumpy.
And the
Noah's
DSLs.
asking
Yeah.
for it.
Asking for it.
Yeah, and he put a hole in my wall because I tried to give it to him. Fucking dickhead.
Okay,
Okay, do you have
So-
Cody's yet?
for Cody's, I'm gonna go some sort of like hunting rifle, something like that.
But I have.
Yeah.
And then, see, the second one is what's hard for me. I was thinking some form of like game system. You know what I mean? Something
Okay,
like
yeah.
that. I couldn't think of a good.
like a PlayStation controller.
Yeah, like a PlayStation, Xbox, whatever it is, something like that. I couldn't come up with a good second one. I was very proud of my hunting rifle one. I'm like, that's such a good one. And then I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't fucking know for the second item.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm gonna say.
I would say
Okay.
pretty much anything like music related too.
Well, see, that's what
Yeah.
I was also thinking was
Yeah.
like, I was
Microphone
thinking of
or
doing
something
like
like that.
headphones. I was gonna say microphone,
I-
but then I was like, or
I literally,
headphones.
like-
Yeah. Headphones. Yeah.
I mean, since you already answered, I'll show you my gun and microphone. That's what I have.
I was literally
I didn't
gonna
say
say,
what I had on mine. Are
Well,
we doing
we're
it
n-
at the same time?
No.
We'll do it at the end.
We were gonna.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll do it at the
Okay.
end.
Just because she got it like really fucking close, I was
Yeah.
like, hell yeah,
Well,
that's what I had.
I was gonna do microphone. And I'm like, no, I don't know if it'd be microphone. And then I was like, headphones. And I was like, I don't know if he'd do that either. So, damn, I should have gone with my gut instinct.
Yeah.
Double guess myself.
All right, Cody, what do you got for me?
So
Be
for
nice,
you,
I'm fragile.
it's not like pen and paper, but like parchment and
Okay.
like an inkwell pen
Okay.
because
Fair
of
enough.
writing. Like
Because
you
he
like to
has a
write.
Yeah.
inkwell pen collection.
And then like any type of copy, like the immediate thing that came to my head, I have a book that I got that is just full of H.P. Lovecraft novels.
Oh, okay.
Or like
yeah,
the book. It's
Yeah, like
all,
the
it's all of
collection?
his stories
yeah,
in one book.
yeah, like the big collections.
And I kind of picture you with like that, or like a bundle of H.P. Lovecraft books.
yeah.
Like I picture both those things with you.
So-
just
so-
like if it was like a Pop Funko, I feel like you literally have like pen and ink in your hand, and then like an
Book.
H.P.
And a
Lovecraft
stack of
book like
books.
right here, and just like
So
See,
so
my,
you
I feel like for Tyler it would be like some form of pen, definitely, and then like
And then
I
middle
picture him
finger
with
up to
the
sky.
with the hound medallion.
yeah.
That's what I picture as
So
his.
so you're very very close. I had a pen and notebook.
okay,
I just like I figured that's like a one thing, just like
Yeah.
something to
Yeah.
write in.
yeah, pen and
Um,
paper.
and then a hat.
Yeah, you do go everywhere.
My hair
yeah.
drives
It
me
depends
insane.
though. It depends though because if your hair is short, you never wear a hat.
I know,
because
but my
when your
hair
is
lately
short,
for like
hats
the last
hurt your
year and
heads.
a half has been long. So like, and I hate my hair touching my face. So like, I either have to have a hat on or a beanie on or like hair tie, because like if it's touching my face, I want to shave it.
I have a slight change in mine.
So that's
Instead of the second one, I'm going to say, just for the opposite of it,
Okay.
I'm going to say Tyler has pen and paper, and then he has a bottle of hand lotion.
I wish I
That's
had
what he
hand
fucking
lotion.
needs.
Fucking
Have you seen
that
his hands?
greasy hand lotion. You want to feel that greasy hand lotion?
I've
all
been
over
putting
your
it.
hands?
I've been
No,
putting
I
it on him
don't.
every night now because his fingers are literally splitting
They're
with how dry they
splitting.
are.
Look at this finger. Look at how it splits.
Oh
down
my
the middle.
god!
Wow.
And like they're doing it to the rest of my hands. Like, look.
It's
like
bad.
because like Josh is like, what the fuck? Did you cut your fingers? And I said, no, my hands are just so dry. They're just splitting down the middle. Because
Fun
he
fact
doesn't-
for
it's a
Tyler,
feeling of
he
it.
has alligator paws and sandpaper lips.
Okay. Holly.
If somebody
what
would
did
kiss
you
them
have?
more, they wouldn't
Oh.
be as rough.
So for
Just
mine,
saying, polish the stone.
so for mine, I put vape, obviously.
Obviously.
As I'm sitting here with 3 different vapes in my lap.
JD has 12. But
My second one was a one of the boot casts. You know,
yeah.
This is the only year for the past 3 years I have not been wearing a boot cast. Yet.
she just
Knock
likes it.
Knock on the fucking.
No, because she
Listen,
puts
no,
it on for
'cause-
fun.
Yeah, I think it's so fun. No, the last time I fucking fell down Tyler's dad's steps.
That
and
was
when
kinda funny.
It no so. It
I
was
didn't push
fucking
her.
funny.
I was
but
at the
oh
bottom
my
when she
God.
got there.
So I was going down the steps. I slipped because they're carpeted and I was in socks. And for some reason, when I'm going up the steps, I'm on my tiptoes and I'm at the very fucking edge of each step. That's the only way I go upstairs, and down them, same exact way. Tiptoes and on the very edge of the stairs. And I slipped and my foot went in the railing.
Like
But
in
I
the
kept
rung of the
going.
railing, and she fell down the stairs.
So my foot stayed wedged in this wooden railing as I kept going, and it just fucking demolished my ankle. And it was great because when I went to the doctor, they gave me an air cast, and he was like, yeah, wear that, you know, blah, blah, we'll get you an MRI and we'll check on it. And then I went back like a week later, and he looked at my ankle, and he touched it, and he goes, oh, that's very soft. And I'm like, is that a bad
Did he
thing?
say soft or squishy? Because
No,
I think
he
I
said
said squishy.
soft. He said, "Oh, that's really soft," and I was like, "Shit! Like, what does that mean?" He never answered me, and he's like, "We got to get you for an MRI. You need a hard cast. Like, get the boot cast. Like," and I'm like, "What does it mean that my ankle's soft?" Never answered. Never got the MRI. So. Don't know what happened with that, and that was 3 years in a row. Around Christmas time, I was in a boot cast.
yeah.
All right, Noah, what are your two?
Well, technically, I already have an action figure.
you do. You
Technically.
do. Yeah.
It has a microphone and
A butt plug.
headphones. Huh?
Yeah. Did you say butt plug?
But plug.
If that man had a butt plug, you could never find it. You'd have to
Shout out
get
to
past
butt
that
plug.
cake first.
Yeah.
But one of them is still a microphone because Cody and I have been doing podcasts for over 4 years now.
Right.
Fun fact about Noah, he's actually a country singer.
I love my tractors.
And your dog.
Yeah.
America.
America. But the other one, I did not think of beanie because when I thought of accessories, I'm like, nothing on my body. I would think of
Right.
like some type of
Yeah,
item.
I just feel like
But
that's
yes,
just something that I
should have
can't
thought of being.
not picture you without. So
The other one is a bunch of different board games.
that's true.
fair, that's fair.
That's true. That's fair.
I don't know why I always picture
That's
you
fair.
with a copy of like Betrayal.
Yeah.
Like you talk about Betrayal all the time.
It's such a good game though.
Have y'all played the Binding of Isaac board game?
I want
Holy
to.
shit, it's
That
so
was
fucking
really
good.
fucking horrible.
Oh my god. Tyler hates it because he doesn't like Munchkin, and it has...
You don't like fucking Munchkin?
No, he fucking
Get
hates
out.
Munchkin.
Munchkin.
It has like a similar...
Do
I'm
not
gonna say
sponsor
it's-
us.
I'm
Your
gonna put
game
my
is
dick-
shit.
I'm not
Down
gonna
your
say
dick.
I'm not gonna say it's the same as Munchkin. It has
It's exactly
similar
like Munchkin. It
aspects to
fucking
it. But
blows.
the Binding of Isaac, it's so fucking good. My sister got my brother the board game and then expansion packs for Christmas, and holy shit, we played every fucking day he was here. We were playing it nonstop. It is so good. I love that. I want to get it now.
No,
it's so good.
It's so bad.
It's so good. Fuck
Cody,
it.
Mine was obviously the hunting,
rifle
like the
and-
rifle. Yeah, I said gun, but it would be more of a rifle. I don't really carry my pistol around. Or
Well, that's why I was like,
So
I was
that
like, he
leaves
likes to
one
be
of us.
outdoors and he likes to hunt, and that's so I
Yeah.
figured hunting rifle would be.
And my second one was obviously a microphone because I'm a vocalist in 3 different bands and freaking.
Country singer.
And country singer.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, real country.
Fun
Real
fact.
You should see the way he
Fun
plays
fact:
a banjo.
Cody and Noah actually have a country band together.
They're
I'll
called
start a
they're
country
called the
band with you.
They're called the Backwoods
it.
Munchkins. You should
This
check
is-
them out
I
on
like-
Spotify.
I like instead of doing shout outs, I think I might just start spreading false information.
Hell yeah.
Oh, great. All right. Krista, go ahead.
Hell yeah, I like that. I'm the lead vocalist for AC/DC. Go ahead.
So mine was a bundle of books
Hell
or
yeah.
Okay.
some book related
Okay.
something.
Yeah.
And then my other one was a toad.
Oh, shit.
Because I
yeah.
love-
I pictured a mushroom.
Frogs and like being outside and creek hopping and whatever.
I just pictured you with like a little bundle of mushrooms. Like
But I
Okay,
don't
I'm
like
sorry.
mushrooms.
They changed their band name to Creek Hoppin' because that sounds badass.
no, that's our first single we're putting out.
Yeah, Creek Hoppin'. Oh, that does sound like I would listen to that. I'm not gonna lie.
All right, we got to get on it.
I do
Get on
love.
what?
Can I be the
love some
tambourine
Creek
hopping.
player?
Hang on.
Oh,
So
I'll play the skin flute.
super quick on
Before
the side.
we end this,
Yeah. One thing I just wanted to ask is more for you and Tyler since you
Okay.
guys have DM'd more.
okay.
So
Fuck us, Krista. Damn.
yeah, I guess.
would you agree?
Yeah, fuck you, Krista.
Would you agree that with this statement? And hear me out before you answer, because I know you're gonna get pretty riled up at this if you don't listen to the whole thing.
Am I riled up? Can I get riled up?
No, you 50-50. So I believe the downfall of D&D, not the downfall, but the frustration of D&D comes from the bane and boon of D&D, and that is homebrewing. It has
Okay.
opened up the world of D&D to so much, and it's so positive, but that's what Holly reminded me of it earlier when she said there was just so much stuff to keep track of.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think that part of that to blame is homebrew. But without homebrew, D&D would just be like fucking cookie cutter, like
Every campaign would be exactly the same
picture
sort of
a
thing.
plain brown cardboard box.
Yeah.
But like with this, it's like you have like a custom printed cardboard box to keep all of your like creativity in.
Do you want me to go first? Because I do have a thought process on this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so my thought process is on homebrewing is, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really homebrew when I run a D&D campaign. I stick to like the abilities and stats and that sort of thing. I have nothing really against it too much. I think though where you can take like the basics of D&D is the setting.
Okay.
I think if you can like I hate what are they called, like modules or
Yeah.
right, okay, I hate those.
Yeah.
Those are so stupid to me. Like, okay, like, so me, you, and 10,000 other people have played the same storyline. To me, that's horrible. I think where like D&D can like expand itself is homebrewing a setting and a place.
Yeah.
I think is where you can really get creative and like still use its bare bones of things and make it what you want it to be without having to like change stats or that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I am actually the opposite, Tyler. I homebrew almost everything.
Right. I'm not saying anything's like
Oh,
I'm not saying
neither am
anything's
I.
wrong with that.
That's-
I'm not
fair.
against it.
But
Yeah.
with everything that I've played, I've DM'd, it is all came from
Dripping
No, it's all
cum.
cum.
It's all cum.
It all came from my head. I didn't like any of the modules because, like you said, it's boring. It's
Yes.
the same old story that everyone else has already done.
Exactly.
Already
I feel
played
like you
through
have
it.
to control it so much to keep it in the story.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's not how you play the game.
That is true. That is very true.
And along with what we said earlier is about how other D&D players go into the books and find the monsters that you're facing right now and
Yes.
seeing all these different stats. I can't really do that anymore. I have to create my own stats. I have to go off of like some type of backbone, but I have to change it my own.
Yeah.
And kind of start to make it myself.
Right.
Because then it starts becoming, all right,
Like really.
it is now changing someone's mind. Like, shit, I thought that was a beholder. It has the same look to it, but it's
Not
an
acting the
elder
same.
beholder or something? I don't
Yeah.
fucking know.
No, I get that. I think the reason why that I always stuck to the mechanics of Dungeons and Dragons when DMing it and just changing the settings and those aspects of things is because I was always on a very, very tight schedule.
Yeah.
Like there was a point to where I was running 2 campaigns a week for like 3.5 years. Noah was a part of that actually.
Yeah.
And it's more of like you don't have time to make up stats. It's more of like slap a sticky note like yes, here is in this dungeon.
So, like, if they
here's
encounter
this
this,
guy.
here's this.
Yep,
Like-
they encounter this. Here's this, and you slap a sticky note on it.
That's,
and it was more
that's how
of
I
just
did that one shot.
it was more of just like it's more out of like not necessity. What's the word I'm looking for?
Convenience.
Like convenience. That I would run things that way. Like, but the setting was always easier to homebrew in my mind because I didn't have to think about numbers.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? 'Cause,
it's
like,
the efficiency of it.
Yeah, because
that's what I was thinking.
efficiency,
Yeah.
yes. Because like homebrewing a setting and the aspect of things, that can come natural to me. But if I gotta sit there and go, what would this monster's armor class be?
Yeah.
What would its abilities be? Like, to me, that was always just like too time consuming.
Yeah.
And like, but like I said, I have no, if you have time to do it, hell yeah, like do it that way. But you know what I mean? It was just, at that point, it was just the efficiency of trying to get the next part of the story out.
Yeah, I agree with you because when we started doing a campaign for this podcast, I was also doing a campaign for here in the card shop. And trying to create a story for this and for that, I pretty much just let this one coast. Whatever they do, they fucking do. And I tried to put so much effort into this one and the podcast, and it just was hell.
Right.
I was never... I could never do what you did for 3 years.
It was... Man, we played that for so fucking long. Holy shit. Like, and it was consistent. Like, you gotta admit, no, because I ran one on Sundays for the guys at the shop, and then I ran one I ran one for you guys on Sundays, maybe.
Yeah, it
and
was
I ran
us
one
on Sundays.
Yeah, and I think I ran one for the shop on Saturdays. So I was playing D&D consistently for 3.5 years, twice a week.
That's probably why you're not fond of it anymore
So
either.
it's probably true because I was playing 8 times a month. You know, like
Not just that, but then coming off of that, we started the group with Brock and all of them. And
right. But
then-
this is like back when I owned the church and stuff.
I
Like,
know, but I'm
like,
saying, but
I
then
That's
ran
what I
coming-
was
this
going to ask
for-
if you
But
were
that's what
talking
I
about the
mean,
church
though.
one, because that's...
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember
that was-
him saying that he was going over...
Yeah, and it was.
But that's what I
it
mean,
was a
though.
lot.
Coming off of doing that every weekend and then into the new shop one, and then we started jumping around with a bunch of campaigns too, and that made it difficult.
And I think that's why I like always having like these like a collection of RPGs because like I really like just doing one shots more on things because I wasn't getting so burnt out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
'Cause
one of the nice
the
things.
concepts were always different. The ideas were different, and it was
Worst
it
comes
kept
to
it-
worst, you have a few sessions and then you're
Right? Yeah, and
you're
it
on to a
always-
different setting. And a
Yeah,
different
and it was
story.
always nicer to view things that way.
Yeah. So that's what I was saying. That's why I was thinking of like the Bane and Boon, because it was like there's a lot of good that came out of homebrew, and I don't think D&D should ever like turn its back on homebrew.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, homebrew has made it so difficult, especially for newer players.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they can customize their characters more, and like, if you want to play like if you want to play a carny that like is like a juggler and like can like spit fire and shit, like
Yeah.
you can do it. They can make a character for it and base
Right.
attacks off of it. But it's just like
Sometimes
there's
there's not like the structure that it needs to have.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, I think that's like coming full circle. That's where Simply Six gives you the structure, but then the flexibility of homebrew.
Exactly.
Because you can come up with whatever idea you want, and then you just plug in the numbers wherever it has to on your character sheet.
Yeah, and you're not rolling fucking 6 different dice to get one,
Right.
What's the word I wanna
Result.
say? Like a result. Yeah. So,
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense.
okay.
We're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Alrighty.
Always in a monologue is talking.
All right, who's going to say the N word for the end of the podcast?
Just cut it right there when I go. "Nick."
I did.
I did.
But yeah, it's just now we're not recording, right?
Shit. Thank you all for listening to CNC Talks. If you like that episode and want to hear more, follow and subscribe to keep up to date. We have an Instagram and Facebook at Creatures and Cantrips and Twitter at Creature Cantrip. If you want your message to be read on the next episode, leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Like, share, comment. It'll help us immensely. I hope you all have a wonderful day.